All right, we're live on stream. We're live on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at the big1050.com. And we are also live on all of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We got it all going for Steady Droppin Dimes, the latest edition of Dimes as the basketball focus is clear. We got Daniel Horton with us on Dimes. We will be doing another edition of the Basketball Insider over the weekend. So we got full scale coverage of you as well. And joining us as he did last week in this time slot is our good friend Daniel Horton on Dimes. Daniel, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, doing good. How about yourself, Sam?
Doing great, man. And it's interesting to see the reaction to the loss of LJ beforehand and really witness it in the moment, both from fans on social media, even from the commentator. One of the commentators on the game last night, he was just convinced that Michigan is just Iowa's going to get them. Iowa's got something for them. Look at how they can't get into their offense. This is where they miss. This is the difference with LJ and all the turnovers. This is the difference with LJ, and they aren't going to be at Old Car. I got Iowa. And then after the game, he's like, but see, Michigan found a way to win again. But that's what they've done all season, Daniel. So I want your reaction first to what you saw from Michigan offensively, and how much of that you thought was due to LJ's absence. And then number two, what you see the pivot, the adjustment being moving forward. I know it's just one game that we saw, but what do you see the adjustment being moving forward?
Well, first of all, LJ Cason, first of all, I want to, send some love and some, positive energy out to LJ. I know it's a tough to get hurt, and especially in the middle of having this type of season as a unit, as a team, right? As a program, like it's tough to miss the ride that I think they're going to go on the rest of the season. But I think he has 2 more years left, so he'll be fine. But I think from a basketball perspective, offensively, I think their offensive struggles last night wasn't because he didn't play, right? It was more so some of the ugly tendencies that we've had over the last year and a half, almost going on 2 years now, kind of reared their ugly heads as far as the turnovers go. I think you got to give Iowa some credit for the Iowa defense. That's probably one of the better defensive games I've seen Iowa play all year, right? They're normally a pretty strong offensive team, but yesterday they defended really well. I think they competed at a high level, and so did we, right? That's something that we've kind of set the standard for. When you play Michigan, you're going to have to compete physically and mentally for sure for 40 minutes, or you're going to get run out the gym. So you got to give Iowa credit. They competed well, but you could kind of see the adjustment they made with the second group where you can kind of see the effects of not having LJ Cason, right? You saw Yaxel play the point. You kind of see his minutes extended a little bit more with that second group where he, played the point a little bit. You saw McKinney handle the ball a little bit. So I think you can kind of see them working on finding a solution for him not being there when Elliott is not in the game, right? You saw Yaxel at one point playing the 4 with Namari and 3 other 9 ball handlers on the floor, right? So, right, that's something I'm pretty sure that's something they experiment. I don't want to use the word experiment because I'm pretty sure they were confident in going to that lineup before they did it. So, as you see, that's one of the adjustments they made. I think another adjustment I would like to see them make is put the ball in the freshmen's hands more, right? You look around the country, you see a lot of freshman guards playing themselves in the lottery picks and doing really well, with the ball in their hands. And I think for McKinney, they've used him in a way where he's the only thing he's really thought about doing so far is shooting the ball, right? He's catching and shooting, or catching and driving. He's been more so focused on being a scorer. I would like to see him move more into that playmaking role now that Cason is out, and we'll see. I think he's capable of doing it. He's a high IQ ball player, so we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, man, I think you raise a lot of great points. You aren't going to replace what I think LJ was to them with in the same way. What do I mean by that? Like I do feel like his absence was highlighted last night by all the late clock situations they had, and credit Iowa's defense for that. But he's the best one-on-one player in my opinion. Like, give him the ball and say, hey, go get it. he's Michigan's best player in that regard. I think he has the best ability to do that when it comes to creating your own offense. Now, I'm talking about, hey, he gets the ball and then he goes to work. Now, you could say Adai is a matchup problem too, which I think might be a pivot as they continue. Like, hey, we gotta get it to Adai and let him and run offense through him. And you can't do that in the last 5 seconds, but if you can get it to him with 10 seconds left, that's a thing. But the various adjustments that I see them making, Elliott's gonna have to be a 30+ minute a game guy. But after that, you got some other shifts. One of them is, you know what, Yaks? You've been talking about this all season, Daniel. It hasn't been anything that has cost them games. You say, hey, man, he's an alpha. I need him to be that. I need him to be that on the court. And you saw he was, 3 for 3 in the first half. I don't have the stats in front of me. And it was like, man, he only got 3 shots. And Dusty, you can see Dusty, they're running stuff for him coming out of the locker room. And then one of the key Yak sequences to me was it was late clock. He had it on the wing. He's trying to get it to Elliott, and Elliott's waving him off. You're like, hey, man, go get it. And so I don't know if Elliott saw that it was late clock, Daniel, or he saw that, man, they overplaying you to your left. And, man, with a spin, he was to his right hand down the lane. Boy, I think it was an and one. Alpha mentality, man. I think that is going to be another shift where he doesn't have to be like, I got to be the guy every game, but there are going to be some situations where he's going to have to be more assertive. That was one that I think an example of that really worked out for him on the court.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it's going to happen at some point this season for us to win a national championship, for us to get to where we want to get to. And he kind of saw it. He's going to have to be the guy we saw the first half against Duke. Like, I'm going after. I'm taking. Doesn't matter how many shots I take. We're playing to win. Right. And he's a guy that, 13, 14 points per game is cool. But for him, I think he should have been more aggressive all year. I'm not a big fan of the point forward Yaxel. I haven't seen him get 7, 8, 9, 10 assists in a game ever since I've been watching him play, right? So I hate that comparison. Like, he can initiate the offense, sure, but I need him to be ultra aggressive the rest of the season for what's on the line, right? Not Friday, but this next game against, the other team we're not going to name, like, you're going to have to step up and play hard again because it's going to be a dogfight. But moving into the Big Ten tournament and the national tournament, you're going to have to be an alpha. And so far, I don't know if he is an alpha. I know he's in that role for this team, but he kind of defers to, I'm going to just let the game, like, people call letting the game come to me. I call it being passive. So we'll see if he's able to flip that switch and become more of a dog here moving forward.
Do you see him in more pick and roll action as the ball handler, as the guy coming off that screen, being the decision maker? Do you see them doing more of that?
I see him doing more. I need to see him doing more of everything. He's a hell of a defender, right? You can't complain with his effort and his energy on defense. But on offense, I don't care if it's 4 or 5 pick and rolls. I don't care if it's mid-post ISOs. I don't care if it's boomerang actions, getting him going downhill at the guy he's guarding. Whatever it is, he just needs to be more assertive and more aggressive on the offensive end, right? He shoots the ball well from outside. To me, you said LJ Cason is the best one-on-one player. I think it's by far Yaxel Lindborg is our best one-on-one player. He's our biggest matchup problem. I just think I need him to be more forceful and more assertive moving forward.
Okay, so let me clarify what I mean by that. Best off the bounce. You got to create leverage for Yaxel Lindborg off the bounce. And they can be more intentional about doing that, right? Like, whether it's 4 or 5 pick and roll, like you said, boomerang action. When they're in the half court and you get a ball to Yaks and say, go make it happen, I mean, he's not always the guy that's just going to beat his man off the dribble one-on-one. That's what I mean. I think that LJ is the best on the team at that. Now, you can get Yaks, give him some advantages. Again, What do you think of him as a decision maker? What do you think of him as the guy who is coming off of that screen and I'm gonna go all the way, or I got the pace and space down to the point where I can I could be a point forward in that way. He might have that in his arsenal. If not that, action off the ball, movement off the ball, creating leverage before the ball gets in his hands, whatever you got to do to kind of get him going to the rim, I think is going to be one of the major deals for Michigan moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree, and to be honest, I think he's a little better off the bounce. I think for any of your best players, right, you want to create advantages for them when they catch the ball, they got a half a step or a full step on their man, headed towards the rim. So and that's what Michigan's offense is built around, creating advantages, spacing and creating advantages through our actions and our spacing, right? So I think they're going to continue to do that. Like I said, to me, I don't care how it looks. Like I just want them to get busy and get it done, right? That's what it's going to take. Like, it's not going to be like last night wasn't pretty. The score was 71-68 or something like that. A far cry from the 90, 110, 115 points we've seen Michigan score, for the better part of this year, right? So these games, as the season progresses and we get close to championship moments, it's not going to be pretty. So, like I said, I don't care. I don't care if it's a dribble handoff. I don't care if it's a ball screen. Hey, man, go get busy. Like players, like hoopers hoop. Like, I don't care what the coach is calling. I don't care what it is. If my man in front of me, if he can't check me, at some point he's gonna have to deal with me every time down the floor. So
yeah, because I want to don't misunderstand. A specific skill set that I'm talking about with LJ.
Yeah.
Yax is by far their best player, and for everything. I think part of what has made him more special in the eyes to the point where I think they're actually going to give him Big Ten player. I think he's Big Ten player of the year, no doubt. But does everyone else? I start to question it because his stats.
I don't.
You know how they look at stats and they're like, well, he's averaging like 14 point something points a game. He's not one of the top scorers in the Big Ten. That seals the deal. Like, I heard the dude on NBC last night was talking about Bennett Sturts.
Hey, Sam, I'm not gonna lie to you, Sam. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit in that boat as well, right? It's hard for me to give if you give it to Yaxis because you're giving it to the best player on the best team, right? Not because he's had the best individual year or he's been the most important to his team. Like, if you're going by the guy, it just all depends on like the old MVP discussion, right? Is it the most valuable player? Or is it the best player on the best team? So
I think
it depends on what you believe.
I think he's the most valuable and the best player on the best team. Because when you look at Bennett Sturts, you're just looking at him scoring the basketball.
Right. I wasn't gonna mention him.
Who are we talking about then?
Hey, you go hate when you hear this, but the Fears kid,
man, man.
You take him off Sparty, and they are bottom of the half of the conference team.
And you take Yax off of Michigan, and they are not a national championship team.
No, but they're still a top 5 team in the league, though.
Right back. And see, so you ought to be able, in this day and age of analytics, to quantify what this dude is on defense, because he is about that life.
No, he's a dog.
He plays defense like a lot of other guys play offense in terms of his approach. Best play, everything you want him to be offensively, like you say, hey, man, give me the ball. Let me go get it. He's that guy on defense. Oh, he the best. Keaton Wagler's the best player? Give me him.
Yeah, but Keaton Wagler.
Says we switching. No, I'm not switching a damn thing. I got him.
Keaton Wagler is like right up his. Keaton Wagler's 6'5", 6'6", so that's right up his alley, right?
You missing my point. You missing my point, Daniel. Let's not get caught up
in and he still had 20 plus. But go ahead.
He still had in the second half. In the second half, when the points that aren't meaning as much.
Nah, point.
And you got to run him off, 20 ball screens for him to get that leverage.
That's the
like,
offense.
Hey man, he has shown all season that when I was defending fives last year exclusively, this year I can defend everybody on the court.
Yeah.
Who you got for me? That's different.
He could defend 1 through 5 of the average players and below. I'm not I'm never like when we like I said, moving forward into the tournament, we play against more elite players and more elite guards. That
We talk
theory is
about
gonna
Big
be
Ten Player of
tested.
the Year.
Yeah,
We talking about Big Ten Player of the Year. Jeremy Fears is doing that against a lot of average players at times.
Nah,
too.
he is. He definitely is. The Big Ten, as far as guard play, is definitely on the average side. But he's like the leading the nation in assists. You know what I'm saying? Having a bunch of 9-10 assist games. I think he set a record for close to setting a record for doing that. Like that, plus and he's averaging more points as well. So like if you want to, like I said, it just depends. I don't really care either way. Like I want the Michigan guy to win the award. But when you come to talk, it's the age-old MVP discussion, right? Is it the most valuable player or is it the best player on the best team?
He's both.
I'm not mad. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm not mad if I'm extremely happy if he wins it.
How many points is he scoring, and how many points is he stopping on the other end?
Mm-hmm.
Put those points together.
Too, though.
Put those points together. He's not Yaks. Put those points together, and he has more value. So not only is he the best player on the best team, he's just the best player. He's the most valuable player too. He's both, but a lot of people don't look at the defensive contribution.
No,
hopefully they're doing that now.
I evaluate both when I'm looking at. I'm looking at both. They're both great positional defenders. Yaks has more positional versatility, like he can guard more positions, right? But Fears is a hell of a defender for a point guard as well. So it's not like it's one guy. Is like Sturts. If we're going to evaluate both ends, Sturts is clearly not in that conversation, right? But those two guys was kind of set the pace for the better players in this league. So I'm not mad if either one wins it.
Yeah, I am because you look at what Yaks has been all season. He has got his offense has come mostly, and I don't have metrics to back this up. I'm just giving you the eyeball test. His offense has come mostly in ways that aren't designed. Transition, offensive rebounding, like not, hey, get the ball to Yaks and let him go to work kind of situation. Like he's gotten a lot of his points when you ain't draw it up for him, which is special, man, which is absolutely special. And I think that might get some people, they might just misconstrue how much of a dog he is on offense because of that unselfishness. But now, again, to your point, we're going to have to see some more assertiveness on his end. But even in the absence of that, the value that he has offensively and defensively, being able to guard all 5 positions, being able to maybe not be a point forward in your eyes, but to be able to initiate the offense some as well. That's a lot of his transition. Some of his transition is coming that way too. Transition points are coming that way too. That makes him not just the best player, but the most valuable player too. In my opinion.
Look at it like this, Sam. In my opinion, Morris Johnson has been just as valuable as Jackson Limbourg to Michigan's success this year. There's nobody else in Michigan State's locker room that's been as instrumental to their success as Jeremy Fears has been. Oh, not whatever his name is, to what Michigan State is doing. So, like I said, it just depends on what you. For me, I've been a guy that had stats and clearly led my team to a position that we probably wouldn't I don't know if we would have been in, right? And then and my stats are clearly better than the guy that makes first team all conference or wins conference MVP, and their team might have finished 1 or 2 games in front of us. So I've been in that position before where I felt like I outplayed the guy that won Player of the Year. So maybe I might be a little bit biased.
Yeah. So I mean, the one place that you can say Jeremy Fears is, he is on offense. Hey, it's my show. Like I'm gonna make it happen. Right? He's that guy. And Yaks hasn't had to be that. He hasn't had to be that on this team. He is definitely the leader, definitely the emotional sort of rudder of this squad. I think he gives them their mentality more than any other guy on this team, including Rez, who is a beast out there.
I thought Rez kind of set the tone.
I think it's
physically, and I mean, you called him an enforcer 2 months ago.
He is an enforcer. You got a couple guys who are big influences, but I think Yaks is the biggest one. I didn't mean to go off on this tangent. You always bring this out of me, Daniel.
Good. I gotta make you think a little bit. I gotta make you think a little bit more, man.
It's like you wake up and you like, man, I'm gonna do something just to be like, Sam, come on, man.
No. Seriously, Yax, Morez, and Adimara have all had 3 incredible years for Michigan so far up to this point. So, and their all numbers are pretty similar for all 3 of them. So it's hard to say. And we know, like I said, I agree with you 100% with Yax's what he brings to the table defensively, right? So that's another element to it. But like I said, when you choose a Big Ten player of the year, I'm just used to seeing guys that are like, 19, 20 points per game.
And that's my fear.
The numbers look a little better,
exactly.
Right?
See, you're the kind of voter I fear that just looks at that metric as the be all end all as far as player of the year.
No. That's not the be all end all. But when you got 3 other guys with the same numbers as you,
then that makes it, if it's the deciding factor, it's the be all end all in my opinion, and it shouldn't be for a guy that has so much value on the other end of the floor. And
it's done the winning. Yeah. I'm about to say,
and it's on the best team. I'm using that as the and, not the because.
Yeah.
Right.
And take my opposite opinion, not as like if Jackson wins, he's very deserving, right? It's not saying, oh, he should know. Like some of these conversations that we have, you're splitting hairs, and I think this is one where Yax's, if he wins it, he's very deserving. So I don't want any Michigan fans to take this as no.
As hater Daniel, hater Daniel.
He's had an incredible year, and he's deserving of whatever awards he wins here moving forward. So
yeah, man. So we talk about the pivots though. More minutes for Elliott. So he 30 plus minutes. Dusty said he could play 36 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, being more mindful of ball security, of foul situation. Like he has to be more cognizant of all of that without LJ backing him up. And hopefully, that run that we saw him on offensively, that comes back. Yax being more aggressive on the offensive end. One of the things I pointed out, Daniel, and I wonder what you think about this. Now I think as far as matchup is concerned, like the opposition can't stop that. Like that's my feeling about off the bounce. Who has the best ability in that regard? That was LJ. Well, who has the most one-on-one matchup issue for opponents? I think it's a die. I think a die when you get him the ball on either block, and it's not a late clock situation where he has a chance to, if they want to send a double, a time to react or get into his move. That is the toughest thing for opponents to stop right now. So can you work that more offensively at times too? I think is a big question for them.
It depends on how long he can play. Right? Like if he stays out of foul trouble, if he stays how fresh he can, like how fast he gets tired, right? All those things factor into how long you can continue to pound the ball into a guy. And if he can stay fresh, they can keep him fresh and keep him out of foul trouble, then it's something you can absolutely work and kind of use as a linchpin to what you try to do offensively moving forward. But like I said, my thing, I still think Axel Lindborg, whether you put him in the mid post or you put him at the 3-point line or you set him as a screener, or if he's the ball handler in the pick and roll, or if he's the guy coming, I think he's the most versatile piece and the guy that's most capable of dominating from tap to buzzer on our team. I think Mara's not too far behind that though. He's
and I can't say that you're wrong on that. Whatever mindset you need to be in to have him be more aggressive offensively, then do it. I wonder if he can be, a guy, if you can do more 4 or 5 pick and roll with him, because it feels like that goes away now. Their 2-man game disappears. It feels like when Elliott goes to the bench. He can be lethal, and him and a die have a real vibe.
Yes.
As far as that's concerned. Do you have another element, another aspect of that can emerge in when Elliott needs a blow? I want to see that.
Maybe you can develop that some. Like I said, maybe if McKinney had been more of in a playmaker role, some to this point, up to
Yeah,
this point, you might be able to do more of that with him. But I think that's going to be a maturation process for him moving forward.
I do too.
So I think it's man, Elliott's going to have to stay out of foul trouble. He's going to have
Yeah.
to protect the ball a little bit better than what he's done. But I think he's capable, right, Sam? I think he's capable of doing all of those things. I think he's capable of playing 35 to 36 minutes. I mean, you're talking to a guy who played 38, 39 minutes a game for my career. So I know it's possible. I don't recommend it, but I know it's possible. But I think Elliott's going to have to play a little better. He's going to have to take on a little bit more of a leadership role because he's going to be on the floor longer, right? But I think they're definitely going to have to find some sort of formula when Elliott goes off the floor that this is what we're going to go, whether it's a 4-5 pick and roll, whether it's playing through Big Mara and letting him facilitate from the post. Like they're gonna have to figure something out because that it got a little sloppy when he left the floor.
What I guess my biggest thing with Trey, because I agree with you, I think Trey is he's positioned to handle more ball handling duties. Now, do you go all the way with it where now he's in a 2-man game? I don't know that they're looking for that. Just give us a steadying force to bring the ball up the court and initiate the offense. And then, not have that take away from what he's been offensively. So I don't know that they're necessarily looking for more from him. Where does the more come from? I think
you got to do more, Sam. Like there's no like we don't want him to do this or we don't want to push him. No, like it's you have to do what's required. The backup point guard is point guard tore his ACL. So now this freshman 5-star point guard, Roddy Gale, and other guys, you got to step up and do more.
And so this is my point. So to me, him stepping up is okay. I'm the backup point guard right now, and we are not. The team isn't going to lose its rudder when I take control, and not have that take away from the offensive presence he's been off the bench. What I mean is, who's scoring average? Who's going to score more in his absence? I don't know that that's necessarily going to be Trey. It might be. I guess my biggest thing would be I don't want it to take away from what he's been offensively. And at this stage, what we've seen from him this year in his basketball maturity, I don't think it will. Who do we see more from? And I think we may have seen it last night. We'll get to that on the other side because I want your Roddy Gale take. Because Roddy Gale down the stretch was a difference maker. Mm-hmm. He was a difference maker. He made the plays that closed the game out.
Yep.
So we'll get to that on the other side here. More steady dropping dimes here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTK online at thebig1050.com.
Clear on the radio.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So a lot of support for your Trey commentary. Steve Horn says on YouTube, Trey looks like he wants the ball out of his hands when he has to dribble too much. Not a confident ball handler at this point. I think he's a responsible ball handler.
Yeah, that's what I see. I see he's not. I don't think he's nervous or I just think he's not a guy that takes a lot of chances.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think for him, he's very like watching him play in high school and he's very capable of navigating a few more ball screens per game. He's very capable of getting a few more shot attempts per game with LJ's absence. So it's just like for me, I'm looking at it like, hey, this is a chance for this freshman to grow even more into his future role, right? Next year he's probably going to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hey, let's start growing his role. Let's give him more responsibility. Now's the perfect time to do it, right? You don't have to do it and step on LJ's toes or step on somebody else's toes. He can just grow into it naturally from here. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I feel like this is strange to say, but I just feel like you're better off with asking Trey to handle that role and being confident it's not going to take away from his offense than you would be Namari.
Yes, Namari would be.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that movie before, right? So
yeah. That's part of the reason why Juwan is in coaching in the NBA now.
I think, in fairness, I think he had to have Namari playing the point.
Yeah.
And so, but it just takes him out of his game too much, and you're trying to Right now, you're trying to get him on track as the kind of like knockdown 3-point shooter it seemed like he was earlier in the season. So definitely don't want to derail that in any way, shape, or form. I think
you let them
Trey's
guys
gonna
stay
be
in their
fine.
roles. Yeah, let them guys stay in their like moving Trey to that position allows guys to stay in their more natural roles. Roles that they've been playing all year, right? You don't
Yeah,
have to.
I wonder what your take, just before we get back on Roddy, because that's the other option. Dusty didn't mention Namari in the point guard scenario at all. He mentioned Roddy.
Y'all want to see that ball all over the gym? Put Roddy at point guard for an extended period of time. That ball that's not his strong point. Like when he's in that junkyard dog mode where he can catch the ball in transition or catch the ball and attack closeouts and put his shoulders on people and get to the rim, shoot open threes, really be the dog on defense that he's been the last couple weeks. When he can play that role, he's extremely valuable. But if you take him out of that role and put the ball in his hands and ask him to make decisions for you in the half court, even in the full court, that ball is gonna be all over the gym. I'm telling you right now.
I hear
And
you.
that's not a knock to him. That's just not his game.
Yeah, he. So remember, I said you got a guy in Trey who's not timid with the basketball. He's responsible. He doesn't try to do too much.
Yeah.
He's not going to over dribble. He's not going to make just oh man, where did that pass come from?
Yeah.
Roddy, I think you might get. Not to say he's always going to do that, but you got a better chance of getting some of that.
Yeah, and because other teams know that they've watched film as well over the last couple of years. You invite pressure. You invite more pressure when you put the ball in certain guys' hands and tell them to go. Play point guard for the next 3 or 4 minutes, or play lead. I don't want to say point guard. Play lead guard for the next 2, 3, 4 minutes. You invite more pressure from the other team because they know that's not his normal role either. So hey, let's get up in him and pressure him and see if we can force a couple turnovers during this 2-3 minute segment, which that can stop your momentum and that can kind of change the game a little bit if you allow it.
Well, before we get back from this radio break, I want to tell those of you watching that Steady Droppin Dimes is brought to you by our proud sponsor, the Golden Limo. If you need to get to your destination on time, every time, our friends at Golden Limo have you covered. Whether it's game day transportation to Michigan basketball, it's going to be on swole coming up on Sunday. Get to that Michigan State game, you better go an hour or even more earlier to get in that parking lot because it's going to be loaded. Hey, you could avoid all of that with having Golden get you to the game and pick you up. Tiger season about to open up. Getting down to Detroit. That transpo can be handled by our friends at Golden. Or your regular airport transport can be handled as well, getting there on time every time. They're aviators and navigators, great fleet as far as that's concerned. If you need larger group transport, they're sprinters, they're party buses. They even have a trolley that can take care of those needs. And of course, if you have large group transportation needs, like Michigan basketball does or Michigan football does, they ride on Golden. They're luxury motor coaches. You can too. Go to goldenlimo.com. And the great thing about it is not just about being in Southeast Michigan and utilizing Golden. You can be anywhere in the country. You can actually be anywhere in the world with their transportation partners and the networks that they have. You can get ride on Golden wherever you are in the world. I know this from personal experience, having ridden on Golden in Paris, having ridden on Golden in Rome, and riding on Golden all the time here stateside. So if you need your ground transportation needs met, no better partner than our friends at Golden Limo. Go to goldenlimo.com. You can ride like the Wolverines. You can ride like us. goldenlimo.com. All right. Miss, my man.
Yes.
Seems like we're about to come back from a break, right?
Yep, we're back here in about 20 seconds.
All right. So here we go. Vestiges of DG. That is not a promo code. I'm only putting it up to tell you folks that is not a promo code.
If you want to use a different promo code, use Jamie Morris's promo code, quarter strap.
I didn't know there was
Pants
such a
on the
thing.
studio.
I hear that. All right.
Stand by, guys. Back on radio in 5, 4, 3.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider on the Big 1050 WTKA, online at the big1050.com. And part 2 of Steady Droppin Dimes. You got John U. Bacon coming up, by the way, on the radio. Teddy's dad is going to join us, give us his take on all of this. But Daniel, we kind of got to something in the break and toward the tail end of the last segment. That was Roddy Gale. Roddy, at the end of that game, you talk about game-winning plays. He made 2 of them. Now, they weren't on offense, which is, when you talk about contribution, that's what people, I think, are pointing mostly to. What is he going to shoot like he shot in the tournament last year? Man, he made 2 outstanding defensive plays to close that game out for Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the old coaching additives. You don't have to make shots to affect winning, right? And I think last night Roddy was another example of that, right? The plays, especially the block shot at the end. It's like he went from being 6'3", 6'4", or 6'5", however tall he is, to being almost 7 feet tall all of a sudden on that block that's kept I can't pronounce his last name, kept the kid from Iowa from tying the game with the putback, right? And when you see Roddy make those plays, for me, I get excited because those are things that lead to winning, right? And I call him a junkyard. I think he should embrace the junkyard dog role. If more if Morez
in the tournament last year, by the way. So
yeah. If Morez is the enforcer and Yax is the Dominican LeBron, and if we're giving all these guys nicknames, right? I vote we give Roddy the junkyard dog nickname, and that's a title you have to earn. And I think the plays that he's made over the last couple weeks, the way he's got after it on defense, I think against Duke, he kind of hopped around too much and jumped out of place too much on defense, but he was given the effort, right? He was playing hard. And I think if he continues to do that, he can put himself in a position to really affect winning and help this team achieve their goals that they have left on the table this year. It's not about scoring with him, right? If he's locked in on defense and he's playing that hard, Roddy's good enough to score. He's going to make open threes if he gets them. He's going to attack the rim and put his shoulders on people and get and ones. Like, I think he can be a big part of what we do. Well, he is a big part of what if we want to win, he's going to have to be a big part of what we do coming off the bench.
Well, certainly a bigger part than he was maybe going to have to be when LJ was here. Yeah. Now it's a necessity. Yeah. Like you need Roddy to step up. It'd be great if he provides the same kind of punch that he provided in the postseason last year. But right. You talk about the block. I thought the the steal, the knockaway,
slap off the kid's leg, right?
Yeah, man. I thought that was even more impressive because consider how tight they were called in the game in that moment, or at that point in the game. Like they really got quick with the whistle in the second half. And man, if you even glance contact, it's gonna be a foul. It was all ball. He moved his feet. He was in front. Made a great play and knocked it off of him too.
Yep.
Terrific play. Play. So
Roddy's one of them guards, Sam. The rules are a little different now, but if he was allowed to chest people and be a little physical like you were back in my day, sound like the old guy. If he was allowed to, man, he'd be a dog. Like on defense, he has the potential to be a really good perimeter defender.
Yeah, so I could see your point though, that how that could trigger his offense. His offense can come from his defense. Not always just talking about getting out in transition, but it gets you in the flow, gets you going offensively. And so I could really see that. Will hitting a couple threes. Those 2 guys. You don't need those 2 guys. That's when you talk about who's going to give you more in terms of scoring.
Yeah.
I think it's those 2 guys are going to have to provide that. But I guess the last thing that stands out to me is that all season long, the hallmark of this team is that when they can't get to their strengths, they still find a way. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to the NBC commentator before the game and at halftime trying to convince the panel and then the audience that Iowa was going, because LJ Cason wasn't on the team. And I love LJ. I said before the season, I think LJ's emergence is going to make them a national title team. So I feel like I was on point. But now I'm saying man, they can overcome that too, because what we've watched all season and what we saw last night is when they can't get to their strengths, they still find a way, man. They still find a way. And I think they are discovering what are more of those ways going to be now in LJ's absence. Roddy stepping up, making plays. Maybe it's Yax being more intentional or running plays for Yax. Maybe those are two elements, but that's, I think, where we are. What is the adjustment in mindset and approach going to be? But the fact that they found ways to win when they're off in certain aspects, I think that's going to be maintained. Daniel, I think that's going to stay the same moving forward.
You know why? Because they defend at a extremely high level. When you defend the way this Michigan team defends, you can have scoring droughts. We watch Kelvin Sampson, Houston Cougars do it every year.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you defend at a high level, you can survive scoring droughts. You can survive your offense not being in sync as it normally is from night to night. But when you defend like that, Sam, when you hold teams to the shooting percentages that we hold them to, we don't necessarily force a lot of turnovers, but you only go get one shot, and you better make it.
Yeah.
And so when the way that we defend, I think that sets the table. To me, that sets the table for everything else we do.
Wait, real quick, one more guy we didn't mention. Merez shooting the basketball. Hey man, I mean, it's not like we don't need to like that work he's put in is showing up.
Hey, that was my, when people ask me, do you think Merez is a lottery pick? I thought, like, no, I don't know if he's quite a lottery pick because he doesn't do much outside the paint, right? And it wasn't necessarily 3-point shooting. It was just like his game is more, he's gonna catch the ball and finish at a high level around the rim. But if he's gonna step out and start making 1, 2 threes a game and show that he can initiate offense and the way teams do now with the high point post or hit 1 or 2 threes per game, he's a lottery pick. Easy. Because of his age profile, his athletic profile, and his production makes him a lottery pick, in my opinion. More so than anybody else on the team that people are saying are NBA players or NBA draft picks. To me, if he's going to hit that shot, he's the best NBA prospect on our team.
Yeah, hey, look, if he shows that in the coming weeks, they'll be cutting down the nets because nobody's going to play him for that right now.
Yeah.
And if he can get them a couple threes a game, say good night. Say good night.
Yeah, and he's an 80% free throw shooter too. So it's not like it's luck. If you can, one thing that we've always talked about, I've been around basketball my whole life. My dad coaching basketball for 40 years, Sam. It's one of the things that we've always talked about. If a guy can be a good free throw shooter, I can turn him into a good outside shooter, right? If he gets up there at the free throw line, he has this flicked looking free throw form and it doesn't look right, it's gonna be some work. But if he gets up there and he shoots a good ball and has good form, I can extend his range.
Yeah, so, it's funny you mentioned that, man, because I highlighted that to Illinois fans as talking about his increased role and contribution here, things that they would never see at Illinois. I said, look at what kind of free throw shooter he is now. Mm-hmm. That's practice and usage, yes. Right? And I keep telling the story over and over again. The very first practice that we were able to attend as media for media day, I stayed behind and I was talking to the coaches for like 30, 45 minutes. And the entire time, the only player on the court still was Rez. And he was shooting threes and free throws the whole time. So it's like you said, it's not by accident. Like that dude was putting in the work, and it lends itself to the coaches saying, listen, man, if you put in that work, you show us you can hit it in practice, you can shoot that in games. Green light, hey man, let it go, let it fly. And Michigan's being rewarded for that. So
I want to applaud Dusty and his staff, right? Like I'm around a lot of coaches, I'm around a lot of high school programs and I talk to a lot of college coaches, right? And one thing that we all talk, you're good at what you practice, right? So watch a lot of these high school games, you watch some college games, you can tell that they spend the first hour and a half of practice on defense, first hour on defense, because everything they do is head first and balls to the wall defense. And then when they go to shoot a jump shot, they chip and paint off the rim, right? You can see that with John Beeline's teams. You could tell Coach Beeline put a big emphasis on shooting. So they did a lot of shooting in practice. You can tell Dusty's teams, they do a lot of shooting, whether it's in practice or before or after practice. And you see all of these guys, percentages have improved from last year. Their forms look a little better. Like you watching Amari, his form, like even his base has gotten a little, is not as wide as it used to be, right? So you could tell that these guys have put in work on being able to make shots at a high level, and it's paying off on them.
So I ask you this in closing, Daniel. Without LJ, is Michigan, I don't know if you have Michigan as the team to beat. So the premise of this question is thinking that Michigan was the team to beat when they had LJ.
Yes.
Is Michigan still the team to beat in your eyes?
Yes. Losing your backup point guard, averaging 8 points per game, 9 points per game, and whatever he averaged from assists, that hurts, right? He's a quality bench player, quality player in your rotation. So losing him, it hurts, and you're going to be forced to adjust. But I think Michigan has enough talent. They have enough depth. They can increase the minutes from they haven't played guys a ton of minutes up to this point. You don't have anybody averaging 36, 37, 38 minutes per game. So you can increase guys' minutes at this time of the year without a fear of wearing them down because of the load that they've handled up to this point. So short answer, yes, I think Michigan is still a team to beat.
Yeah.
Right. But I think they're going to have to figure a couple things out. But I still think they're still a team to beat. Other teams have things to figure out as well. Illinois is going to figure out how they're going to defend high-level teams. Michigan State Michigan State has to figure out how they're going to score against high-level teams, right? Like, so all these teams have things they have to figure out going into the postseason. I think ours losing LJ, I think we have the least to worry about because that's, we have enough talent and depth to have the next man up philosophy. So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of people still point to Duke. Duke did beat Michigan, but they didn't beat the Michigan that all these other teams were seeing because Adai barely played. Let's see what that game looks like if Adai plays, 25 to 28 minutes in that game. Now it's a different ball game, in my opinion. But Daniel, another Dimes in the books, man. Are you making it up for the Michigan State game?
Well, is this Sunday? No, I won't. I'm entrenched in grassroots sports now. High school season is ending. Got the high school playoffs down here in Texas. So I'll most likely be in San Antonio at the state championship games.
I got you. All right, well, listen. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. A lot of big-time recruits. If you miss your recruiting insider, be sure to check that out. We went over them extensively, the guys that are going to be in the house and looking for Michigan to win the in-state battle emphatically, put an exclamation point on the season with a victory, the regular season anyway, with a victory over Michigan State on Sunday. Daniel, been great with you, man. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
And that'll do it for this edition of Steady Droppin Dimes.